Okay, good morning. Good morning. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. We're in for a ride today, I believe. We have some extreme volatility in pre-market, which is odd. Some decent volume, as you can see on screen here, all kinds of large wicks on pretty much every single candle here in pre-market for New York session here. And we are getting some wicked movements, single candle, 1 minute, uh, wicked movements here in pre-market before New York session even opens. So I can't even imagine what the New York session is going to bring once all that volume comes in. So it's going to be interesting. Today is going to be interesting. We're going to be super, super careful again today. Extremely vigilant. We are not going to take any trades that are not A-plus setups. I'm not risking anything here. And if it doesn't look like it's going to be a day where we can finish the challenge today, then I may just switch into the practice account to keep everything where it is, and we can take some practice trades just to get some reps in. But I'm not going to risk anything, especially on a day like today, but we're already starting with an enormous amount of volatility here in pre-market, let alone in the New York session. So that's the plan for today. Again, I'm not risking either of these accounts. One of them is only $700 away from completing the testing phase, the combine, and that's a single trade. It's one trade away from being done, and I'm not going to jeopardize that being so close just to try to finish it. So, plan for today is to be extremely vigilant. We're going to watch the market. Maybe it'll settle down a little bit. I'm expecting some um, extreme volatility, which we've already been seeing for the past couple days, but not so much in pre-market. And the fact that we are getting this extreme volatility and sideways trading in pre-market here kind of leads me to believe that we're gonna get hit pretty hard in the next 2 minutes here when the New York session opens. And right now, the price action actually looks like the market is already open. It looks like the New York session is already open. These are the kinds of movements you get as soon as the New York session opens. And if we're getting that now, it's going to be interesting to see what we get when the New York session does open. So um, be careful today, especially if you're trading smaller time frames. Just be careful, be vigilant. We are we are in for a ride, and if we can't complete the challenge today, um, then we'll come back next week ready to do it. Then tomorrow, markets are closed for Good Friday. So I will not be live tomorrow. We'll take the weekend. Hopefully over the weekend the markets will settle down a little bit. I mean, who knows, right? We can hope, but over the weekend depends on what kind of tweets or social media, Truth Social comments and whatever else we get. So we'll see. It just is what it is. The thing is, if you can be successful in a market like this, man, the chances of you being successful in a market that actually knows what's, or has a good idea of what's coming up and can actually price things in, you'll be all set, right? So here, you know, I think I'm a little bit more focused on trying to set good habits, especially in a market like this with extreme volatility and the uncertainty is completely, off the charts. So here we are, New York session just opened here. Um, so I'm focused on, creating those good habits in a market like this, which means, I'll have those habits in a really good, strong market. and it'll just be that much easier to be successful. So the markets aren't going to stay like this forever, right? It's not going to. Eventually, things will work themselves out. You know, the uncertainty will go down. Markets will do what they do and climb or fall, whatever. But in a you know in a fashion that is more predictable. Um, and so when we get to that point, it'll be much easier. So we just have to ride this out right now. Wait for all this to play out. I don't see it taking too much longer to kind of get some answers and some certainty again, and pan out what these tariffs are going to be, and if there's going to be any, and all those things. So we'll just work through it. Just work through it. That's all we could do. If an opportunity presents itself, you know, take your shot, but be smart about it. All right, so New York session here dropping. So we take a look at our 15-minute chart here. I placed my areas of not concern. The word I'm looking for here is, but so these are the areas of interest, right? Based off of yesterday's trading, based off of the New York session yesterday. So I'll be looking for price, seeing how we're breaking lows here, to come all the way down to our volume low here from yesterday's session. And then we'll be looking for a bounce off of this. So right now, we're just going to wait for price to continue down to our volume low here, our area of interest here, and see what price action does here. So it looks like we might be getting some support here anyway. But I think we're going to end up coming down to our low here, and then we'll see what price action does. You can see how earlier in the day in the Asian session, we did actually come down to this area twice and had some nice support off of it before the Asia session actually climbed. And then it looks like the European session is what gave us our decline here. The ECB reduced interest rates this morning, which was expected by 25 basis points. So you can see how we're getting a little bit of a pullback here. So I would expect that we get a nice bounce down here at this level again. If not, and we push through, either way, we can use this area of interest here to either, go long or go short. But this is what we're looking for price to come down to before we do anything. Doesn't look like it's having any difficulty making its way there. So we'll just hold off. We'll let the morning session here get its volatility in, and we'll see what happens. So the way that I get these levels here is I use the 1-minute chart in the previous day's New York session to basically I put a fixed volume profile from 9:30 in the morning till 4 p.m. I draw that out, and it gives me the fixed volume profile for the New York session. So I take that and I place the highs and the lows of the volume range, the highlighted one, which is where 70% of the volume was for that entire session. So I place our highs and our lows there based off of that, and I also place the control. So the majority, which you can see here, of trades were taken here in the New York session previous, and then we had our highs and we had our lows. So 70% of the trades were taken within this area yesterday in the New York session. So that gives us key levels to look for in the next session. That's how I that's how I get these lines here, these pivot points or possible pivot points. The last couple days, this really hasn't done anything for me because you can see how, you know, our range would have been up in this area up here, and we opened much lower, never even came up to that area. Um, Same thing with the previous day. Our range was somewhere down here. We opened much higher. So these key levels, on occasion, don't even make a difference. But we've had such extreme volatility, and the news that comes out over the weekend or overnight that yeah, we do end up opening up, um, you know, in extreme levels essentially. But on a regular basis, when the market is uh, steady, I would say, these levels hold off or hold up pretty well. So we'll see how today's low holds up. We are still reaching, which is good. Hopefully, we can get an entry off of that level. We're actually looking pretty good here. Not a lot of volatility. You can see that we're just making a move to the downside here, which is nice. A little bit of volatility is okay, but this stuff up, back here at pre-market, where you're getting these large wicks on either sides of the candles, you have no idea what direction market's going to go here. At least here, so far in the New York session, we have a direction. So let's keep moving, and then we're looking for a bounce off of that volume low. We are in our main account here. We're hoping that we're going to get to place a trade, but I'm not forcing anything. We're a single trade away um, from passing this combine here. So, and if we do end up getting it today, with any luck, um, I'm not going to trade any more in this account today. I'll move over to the backup 50K account, just so that we can let that roll over into the next day, let it settle, and actually get the what is it, an FXA account or whatever it is, XFA, um, where you're trading and actually getting paid out. But first goal is to get this combine completed, and then we'll hopefully get the next one completed also. That way we have two 50K accounts that are done. One of them will be used more or less as a backup account, or if I, you know, have a not so good day where I have two, red trades in a row, we'll stop trading in the main account. So that way we can mitigate our losses for each day. And we have that other account that we can trade in. There we go. We're pushing really, really nicely down to that volume low here. I wouldn't be surprised if we push below it a little bit. So we have to watch for, any kind of liquidity grab or anything like that. And it's not to say that we won't continue to push lower either. And that's fine. I don't really care which way it goes. I just want it to give us at least a signal as to what it's doing so that we can use this key level here as an entry, whether it's long or short. It's hard to even tell what the market sentiment is. Um, there's so much, so much going on. Trump calling for the termination of Jerome Powell now, after his speech or whatever yesterday. Uh, at the Economic Club of Chicago. He had a little interview there, and he basically stated in that interview that, the Fed isn't going to come to anybody's rescue, at least not from in his foreseeable future anyway. So the market can continue to drop, and you know, a lot of people were expecting the Fed to jump in if the market continued to fall when those tariffs were first announced. And the Fed has over and over again has stated that they're in a good place and they don't really need to do anything right now, and they're just going to sit back and watch. And he confirmed that again yesterday, and I don't think that the market really liked that. Um, Clearly, Donald Trump didn't like it either, and he's been on his Truth Social this morning, basically attacking Jerome Powell. Okay, a little bit of a bounce early there. Not quite. We almost made it. You can see the line just peeking through here. Um, I wouldn't be surprised, though, if we continue. We're going to stay patient and wait for our key level to get hit. These key levels, also, when you look at them, they're not very far away from like the low of the day or the high of the day. Sometimes they match up pretty well, actually. So, and you can see how price actually reacts. I mean, even right here, we had this nice strong bullish candle here that got rejected right off of where the control is from yesterday's New York session. Um, Even back here, this part here where we moved up and we immediately pushed back under and then got rejected off of the control based off of yesterday, which all makes sense. Like this price point where the majority of the trades were taken yesterday, which means that's where both the buyers and the sellers um, agreed was a uh, fair value, right? That's where the majority of the trades were taken between buyers and sellers. So this price point, based on yesterday's New York session, is what you would call a fair value. And then you have the high end of that fair value and the low end of that fair value. So, price does react off of these levels, which is it's just simple. This is very, very simple. It's just liquidity, right? And it's where buyers and sellers agree. So why wouldn't those levels be key levels for you to look at? I'm not saying that is what you base your entries and stuff on. You're going to zoom in a little bit for that, but these do end up being pretty stable places for key levels. So here we go. We're going to be looking for our next reach down to the volume low. Unless we're going to bounce here. We got some liquidity here. We reached below. All right, first 15-minute candle has closed And that's basically this whole run here. So here's your 15-minute range here also, your opening range. And the gap that was left behind from the open yesterday and the close the day before has not been filled yet. That's a ways away from where we are right now, but all right, this looks like we're gonna push. Let's see if we get that push below here. And we should go directly to our volume low here. And then watch for the bounce. If we get a strong push through, then we'll have to wait for some confirmation that we're going to stay under. Because I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to grab some liquidity here and then head back up either. But it all depends on who's in control today. You definitely got some buyers in this area. You can even see that back here, right? You got buyers just above our volume low here, which makes sense. So let's see if we can actually reach our line here, and then we can again try to look for an entry one way or the other. You can see how, so I leave the volume profile up. This one is a dynamic one. It changes based on what is on your screen. The one I used for the previous day to set our key levels is a fixed that I use to, get those levels based off of the New York session previous day. But even this one here, you can see how price, you know, uses these areas here as key levels. So this is the control for today, the green line. This is was the control for yesterday, the red line. And you can see where the majority of the trades so far today have been taken. And this setup right here is actually really nice because you can see the liquidity right at the control line here where price was continuously pushed below, and you could have used this as an entry to take this, although it was right at 9:30 in the morning, so that would be risky. But somewhere else in the day, if you had something like this is a beautiful setup to take a position based off of where all of your volume is. This is fair value right now. Yeah, we might not actually make it down there. Might be getting a pivot early, or it's just going to take longer. So then now you use these nodes here as areas of interest where price can pivot. That's where volume is. That's where buyers and sellers are sitting. Obviously, here you have sellers. Down here you have buyers. Down here you have a decent amount of buyers, which makes sense. Here you have liquidity right there. You can see that based off of these wicks, right? All right. Looks like price is heading right up to our fair value here for today so far. Nice volume growth here on the way up. So I'm still in micros, especially with these movements here. I want to make sure that I have room so that I'm not risking so much. Starting to slow down a bit as we come up into this area here. We basically pushed right back up to New York session open. Not quite the high yet, but to the open so far. Just about. There you go. So now we're pushing up to New York session high, which is right here. Now on the 15-minute chart, as you can you can see that from here too. That's a complete um, candle overtake there, basically. So switch over here. So far, so we did get a bounce off of this level. Didn't quite make it to our volume low line here. That's okay. Reiterates the fact that this is a strong hold down here. All right, sellers starting to come in here. So we did not push past New York session high. We came right up to it and got a pretty good rejection off of the New York session high here. And then again, a ton of liquidity here. Um, Seller heavy, obviously. So let's see who ends up taking over here. If the sellers push price back down or if we're going to push up through and the buyers take over here. Buyers trying to step back in. I got about 2 minutes left for the next 15-minute candle, which is already retracing pretty good. These next two candles is going to tell us a pretty decent story here. All right. Buyers coming in strong here. Last 20 seconds. Let's see if they can maintain. I think we have a little more downside here. If we close here, it's more of an indecision candle on that 15-minute chart. We might come up and retest. All right, buyers pushing right back here. You definitely got some volume and liquidity growing in this general area here at these lows. Really nice there. Really nice move. So we're going to head up and probably retest our liquidity up here. All right, pushing, pushing. You got a pretty decent resistance here. You got a ton of liquidity here that looks much more seller heavy than buyer. It doesn't mean that the buyers can't overturn that, but we're still looking pretty seller heavy up in this whole area here. And we still have room to fall. Your price is still going to be looking to come down. Doesn't mean it has to, but you got some pretty decent volume nodes here building at a couple different key levels here, as you can see. Obviously, very seller heavy up here, and you're very buyer heavy down here. So one of those eventually will have to give. Right now, there's really no telling which direction we're going to go. All right, there you go. It looks like the sellers might be taking over the buyers here, at least on this area right here. Let's see. We don't have a closed candle yet. Hey, hey, hey. Oh. All right, sellers coming in strong here. I would imagine at this point we are probably are going to come down to our volume low at this point, or at least down to our previous lows here. Maybe we have one last bit of buyer liquidity here, which you see that we just tested there. So let's see if the buyers can take some back here, but we're still looking, I think we're still looking a little overall bearish here. Let's see if we got any news popping. Might help us here. Trump's meeting with the Italian prime minister today. He's also signing some more executive orders later this afternoon. We also have Netflix. So obviously we're in earnings season again. Netflix has their earnings today at market close. Tomorrow we have Tesla earnings. Not tomorrow, sorry, April 22nd. Tomorrow is nothing. So is that Monday? Is that Monday? Yeah, it must be Monday. Tuesday. Tuesday is Tesla earnings. So next week we have Tesla, we have IBM, we have Boeing. What else we have? We have Google, we have Intel, American Airlines. So pretty heavy week next week for earnings. Yeah. And we'll go into the weekend with Netflix earnings and more executive orders. All right, it looks like we got an influx of sellers here. Little pop in volume on that candle there. So we might be getting our push now down to our volume low here. Yep. So here we go. All right, here we go. Strong push from the sellers, pushing right down to previous lows here, which I would imagine we will surpass and head down to our volume low. I think the buyers need some liquidity, so we might see a push below here. And if we get a quick retrace back above, that might be our signal to go long there. Um, Otherwise, if we get a continuation, then obviously the sellers are in it today, and we might head lower. If we push past our volume low level here, we got a pretty decent ways to fall to get to previous day lows, and there really isn't any levels based off of previous day anyway that are going to stop it. So we might, we have, what are we sitting at, 18.4-ish right now? Um, Yesterday's lows are at 18.120-ish. So decent ways to fall if we don't hold our level here. We might be actually getting support even before this volume low. All right. The buyer's liquidity is just sitting right on top here. Hmm, It's pretty strong there. The price action is looking pretty strong for buyers right here. We still got about 5 minutes left in this 15-minute candle here. So I would imagine we're going to get a little bit more. Okay. Interesting. Hmm. So we've tested one, two, three times now. We're getting strong. Each time we get strong pushback to the upside. Okay, and our level, our control level so far just changed. So these buyers are coming in pretty strong here. I'm gonna wait. We got a couple minutes before this 15-minute candle closes. So we might get some consolidation right here. Uh, and if we end up closing around this area, then yeah, we might look to take a long there. So we'll give it a couple more minutes to see what price does here. Definitely got more volume now coming in here. Hopefully it doesn't take off before that. It might. It might. Mm, That's okay. It's all right. Ton of buyers down here. So nice strong hold here so far. All right, last two candles here. Gonna watch this very closely here. Because if we push and close down here, we may end up further down. If we close somewhere around this control, then we might get a push down for some more liquidity and then head back up. Really all depends on how we close here. Ugh, really tough call there. Retesting. So you can see how the 15-minute candles formed here. If we had closed right at the control, it would have been a pretty good shelf right here. But because we just reached below and we're still kind of trending down here, I think we're going to end up having some more downside, possibly. At least down to our level that we were expecting before. So let's see. We're getting the same. Hmm, very difficult choice here. We know we have plenty of buyers down here, but you can see the sellers are continuing to push price and holding closer and closer, to the downside here. Even our new control line, it looks like it's being dominated by sellers so far. So are the buyers going to have enough down here to continue to hold? So at this point, I think we stick to our original plan is wait for price to get down to our volume low here and see what it does there. Because your fair value for the day, which is your green line here, your control, you saw that go from up here to down here, and we're still getting pushed to the downside. So it looks like the sellers are moving price lower, and the buyers are now agreeing that this is the new fair value, which is a lower price. So I think we do have more downside. We'll see. We're reaching here to the low low. We're gonna break it. There you go. That's all you needed. All right. Still getting a little bit of support here, which is what we would, expected, right? This is what we wanted originally, is for price to come down to our volume low here. I would just be cautious for a pop below. It's not bad. Decent move off of our volume low. May not be enough. Hmm. All right, watch for your breakdown here. If this doesn't hold, now let's see what kind of price action we get here. So we're just about at lows of the day where price peaked past our volume low before and then moved rapidly to the upside here. So we might be getting to the same level here. We just got to be careful because we can definitely get a flush to the downside. All right, we've broken past lows of the day. Sellers are still pushing price lower. Hmm. Yeah, sellers are holding strong so far on this one. Yeah. So if we close down here, obviously I'd like to see a retest of our volume low here, or actually even a retest of these lows here. And then maybe we'll continue to the downside. I mean, this looks pretty bearish. If you look at the 15-minute candle, we are going to close well below, yep, that volume low there. So look for a retest and a continuation to the downside. That is the plan now, right? Or we could just continue falling, which in that case, we're not getting in trying to catch a falling knife here. So we need a retest. We need a retest of our volume low there, for us to get in low, to get in short. If we don't get that, I mean, this might actually be, if we get a quick reversal here, actually, we'll see. If this just continues and overtakes, no, it's not. The sellers are in it today. We're going to get a flush to the downside. We're headed probably right down to previous lows of the day. But I would need some type of retracement to get in to continue to the downside. I can't just get in where it's at right now. Can't do it. Oh, I told you it's just going to be another one of those days. I mean, this is just all chop, right? You can't, none of this was um, really anything that we could have gotten in on. Maybe up here, maybe on um, the rejection of our New York session high right here. This might have been a good entry on the next candle here. I mean, we had a retest here. I mean, maybe, you know, it's possible that we missed entries here. If we get a nice slow retracement back up to our volume low here, then I might take a short based off of that. I don't even know if we're going to get there. You can see how price is struggling to even come back. I mean, sellers had a really nice push to the downside here, so you would think that they want a little bit of a break, but maybe not. And there's just too much downside to take like a quick scalp back up here because we may not even get there, honestly. It's just too much downside. I mean, again, let's take a look at the 15 here. There's nothing here now, really, level-wise. And we've already pushed past here if you wanted to use that, but there's nothing here now stopping price from coming back down to lows of yesterday's session. So you can't even really going long in this situation is not ideal, right? Even for a little scalp. I honestly want to take this short. It might have been a hmm. Yeah, we got nothing down here to tell us. I think the best plan is if price comes back up to our volume low here, we get a retest and a good rejection, then we can continue lower or take a short to continue lower, but we may not even get that, honestly. You can see too how we had a nice, decent, amount of volume here, but it just completely fell off a cliff here. Ugh. Yeah. Yeah, we peaked below there. We peaked below. Yeah, I think we're headed for lows of previous day. All right. I'm going to step away for a quick second here. Don't go anywhere. All right, still pushing lower. Yep, still pushing lower. It's not bad price action. If we can get a decent retracement or some kind of big push to the upside. Okay. Nice move back to the upside here. It's a decent volume. It's not anything drastic. This may just be our retest that we're looking for. We're testing previous lows of the day. Is what we're doing right here. Hmm. So now on the 15-minute, because this is going to close, look at what we have. Even we're right at this level. Hmm. So is price turning here? This is a nice strong push. So I guess we would have to see, a push above and a retest if we are actually turning. Quite the predicament. We are getting rejected there. I just don't know if it's strong enough. That's the question. Very little volume happening here. I don't know. We can go any way here. That was a pretty decent turnaround there, pretty decent rejection off of that volume low. I just don't like that we peaked above there. And we're still holding this shelf here. Okay. Decent rejection. Yeah, decent rejection there. I'm inclined to go short here. Truth be told, I'm nervous. Yeah.
Order filled.
Let's try here. Small position. Hopefully small enough. Oh, that's not good. Just looking for a little bit there. I don't want to lose. So I'm going to keep the stop loss real tight because we're in a tight spot here. Ooh, boy. Close.
Order filled.
All right. That's okay. A little unpredictability here, so I'm okay with that. If it wasn't going to run down to where that take profit was, I didn't want to stay in it. So totally okay with that right there. We should have gotten in on this rejection here as soon as this candle turned. I mean, that's hard to say though. I really like to wait for candles to close, to get your confirmation. So really, this is a tough situation. You got obviously liquidity on both sides of you here. I mean, ultimately, I think we do end up falling further, but going to decrease our position size for our next try. That was a little bit too much of a loss for me with that. It wasn't even that much of a. Yeah, I guess it is. So here's your up. You're moving up here, I think. Oh, that 15-minute closed bearish though. I'm pretty bearish there. Maybe not. Hmm. We were close there. We were close. Ultimately, it doesn't look like the trade would have worked out anyway. So, yeah, I think this is you might be getting your bounce here. Obviously, no confirmation yet, but yeah, it's hard to tell. I mean, this could be hard to say. So on the 15-minute here, you can see how we definitely took our um, retest of our volume low there. This is exactly what I was looking for, and then we closed bearish here. Um, so we probably do have more downside off of this. Exactly what I was looking for. So I mean, in hindsight, I guess we could have went on the close of this candle because we got plenty of rejections here. We tried again. The stop loss would have been above there, so that would have worked out. But now we're in this consolidation thing, which I don't really like to be in anyway. So I don't know. I mean, you got good rejection here. Came up and retested liquidity in here twice. That's where we got in. Yeah. I mean, that wasn't a bad trade. That wasn't a bad trade. Obviously, if we weren't in such a position here, if we didn't move our stop loss, then we would have still be still have been in the position. But because of where we are and because of how close I am to finishing this combine, I didn't want to take any chances. So I was okay with moving to break even really quickly. And again, we still have not made any, you know, significant move here to say that this trade would have played out anyway. We might, it's not to say that we won't. And I think we do have some more downside. Um, but that's okay. Hey, we gave it a shot. Didn't quite work out, but we didn't lose anything, $27. We're break even basically. Not a big deal there. Now we're just stuck in this consolidation. That's the name of the game. It was a good trade because we were, following the direction, number one. Number two, we waited for confirmation um, of that rejection. So I'm not totally, it might not be the best trade, but I'm not totally upset with it, to be honest with you. I'm really not. And then if you look at where you know, yeah, when we came up here, retested, you got volume obviously building right where we are right now. Uh, and there's a pretty decent amount of volume here. So the thing with that is we don't know what direction we're going to go in here. You can see some liquidity starting to come in here. You might still get your bounce to the upside. We have not reached where my take profit was yet. I don't think it's close. It got close, but you may still end up turning here. So I'm not mad at it. I think we gave it a decent shot there. And I think we played that right because of where we are. Uh yeah, I think I'm okay with that trade. I think I am. Gave it a shot. It could have been the one. It could have been the one. But it wasn't. And clear and see right there, I would have gotten stopped out. If I didn't move my stop loss, we would have gotten stopped out. And that would have been upsetting. So I am okay with playing that the way I played it. We played it tight. I think we're gonna end up reversing here. Which is actually, might be even better because now we got more upside. So let's see if we can. I would imagine price come up to our control. We get a little shove back down. We retest. If we can retest the volume low here and then bounce, then we'll have another opportunity to try to grab what we need here to finish. And we don't need much, but I'm going to go in with a lighter position this time. Um, I went in with 10 micros on that one. That was a little bit too much, I think, uh, of a risk. So we're going to go in with 5 micros on the next one because we have plenty of room here. So I wouldn't be upset with trying to go in with 5 micros and then letting it run, you know? Because this is actually a pretty strong move now, back up above our volume low. We're back within our trading range here for the day. So if we could get a retest, and I don't know if we will, but if we can get a retest, that would be ideal, right? Best case. But we've just got a whole bunch of momentum here, and you can see the volume build. We got a volume spike here on this candle. We're now retesting our control here. So buyers might have taken control here. So let's see. Let's see. We need a retest. Sellers are still coming in strong here, but I would love a little retest. Unless we go in right now. Nah, I want to retest first. And again, we may not get it, but I was so close. I don't want to take any chances and I don't want to make any rash moves here that are going to end up putting me, you know, back in a place where I don't want to be. And the other thing too is because I'm up above 52,000 now, that trailing stop loss is now stuck at 50,000. I can't go below 50,000. So, I have to keep that in mind too, that I'm now, set at 0. I don't get anything below that anymore. Once you go over your 52,000 and then above, your max loss is always at 50,000 now. So, um, I got to keep that in mind too. I got to take the right setups. So we might be getting a retest here. And then hopefully, if we hold on that volume low, if we do get a retest, then hopefully the buyers will have enough at that point to push past that level there, where there's clearly plenty of sellers sitting. So that is the plan now. Nice strong push above back into our trading zone for the day. See if we can get a retest. Oh, wow. United Healthcare or United Health is down 22%. Holy crap. Not quite the retest that I wanted. It's okay. When you got momentum, you got momentum, right? Yeah, we might not make it back down here, honestly. We got some liquidity here. You can see our volume starting to build here. Control is actually going to switch to this level right here. You're going to see the control line move to right above our candles here. So if we do get another, yeah, I don't know if we're gonna, yeah, if we do get another pullback down to this level here, I might get in. Might get in. Stop loss will be whatever the lowest wick is at the time. Yeah, there's your control just switched. Mm, I don't think it's gonna give it to me. I think we've definitely switched sides here. Buyers might be in control now. Yeah, it's gonna push right through. We're gonna push right through. Damn it. We're gonna go back and forth. Let's see. Yeah, we still might come back down. Just the way the 15-minute looks, because we might be closing the 15-minute in this range here, which isn't breaking the 15-minute prior to that. So if we take a look here, we've reached basically the same level. Unless we get a one strong push here, we might get another. Yeah, you know what? I don't think we're going to. We might just take off from here. Yeah. I'm going to be ready because if we get even a little bit of a pullback in here, I think I might take a long position because I think that this is ready to move back to the upside. Yeah, the buyers want it. So we're going to go in lighter, 5 micros. on this one. Yeah, let's come back a little further. Hmm. And we're off. That was your entry there. Hmm. Let me put this on here so that I don't forget. I think we're about in this area, right? Yeah, we're targeting, I think right around there. Maybe a little closer. Yeah, it's probably right there. Okay. Oops. Hmm. Not super convincing here. Well, well, that wouldn't have gone far, huh? Didn't get very far with that long, huh? Did not get very far. Interesting. Maybe longs are just not it today at all. Could not break past up here. Tried. And sellers came back and pushed us right down. That's okay. I can be a seller too. Yeah, we're getting kind of close here to lunchtime, and then today's the last trading day of the week. Yeah, we're gonna get stuck consolidating now. So we're either coming back down to retest here, which is what we wanted, right? Or we're gonna continue lower today. What do we think? Nice push down, retesting our volume low. Mm, do we buy or sell? Hmm. So this looks like a liquidity grab to me, but we still have a lot of resistance here so far. So I don't know. The 15-minute chart is just, I mean, really hard to tell. Really hard to tell. I don't know. Mm, yeah. It's you can't really tell just based off of what's happening here, you know? It's just crazy, crazy. Although this looks pretty good for the buyers here. Unless they just immediately get shut down here, which, I mean, the 15-minute candles are just, it's just like, oh, we're barcoding here on the 15-minute time frame, which isn't cool. And then we just come right back down. And see, now that's deep retracement, right? So where are we going? What do we do with this? Nothing. So we came up again. We got rejected again. We're playing control flop again. This might even move down again. Close above or below here? Like, how's that above, right? So it's above. Oof. This is ridiculous. This price action is ridiculous. It's crazy. Back and forth, back and forth. Absolutely no direction here. We're just consolidating. The 15-minute chart looks ridiculous. We keep trying to break out of here. Control's going to move again. I tell you what, my patience has definitely gotten better. Still having trouble pushing past there. Now we're coming right back down. But we're just dancing around here. There really is no clear. I think we're headed down, but I just don't know when the appropriate time to get in here is because we're just consolidating right now. But we continue to get rejected, and price continues to get moved down as far as our fair value goes. I mean, we're close to, yeah, I mean, I don't want to take it at the bottom here. I'd like to try to get in somewhere up here to be a little bit safer. But it's like, how many more times is it going to come up and test again, before we just fall? Another attempt here. Last candle in the 15-minute. Getting past where I like to trade here now, time-wise, but it's interesting. This is like the 3rd or 4th time that this has done this at like 12 o'clock. This spike of volume or orders or whatever you want to call it. Volatility just popped off here, you know? I'm trying to be so cautious and patient with this final trade here. And then we get this spike of volume here. Hmm. It's tight here. We're having a really, really hard time pushing past our level here, but at the same time, we're getting pushed down too. Okay. There's a break there. There's just no real clear direction. We have no idea what's going to happen here, and I just can't. All right, there we go. Maybe if we do get a break and we can retest this area here before we just fall. Although we've built up so much here, we might just fall. I definitely think we're moving to the downside. We've tried so many times here. You can see how we just keep getting, wow, where'd that come from? Just because I said we're moving to the downside? I can't trade this. We're all right. I think I'm going to be done for the day. We tried, we gave it a shot. It was a decent shot. We almost had it, kept the stop loss real tight, and now we're just getting this mumbo jumbo stuff that you can't trade. And we're getting these massive volume spikes at 12 o'clock in the afternoon here. I don't trust it. I don't trust it. We get news. Was that some did we get a little Truth Social thing or something? What do we get here? Ah, okay. We got some stuff here. US mortgage rates surge by most in a year as tariffs hit market. Okay. I mean, they were already ridiculously high, so sure. It's just adding to more uncertainty, but then why would the market be climbing on that? I don't even see where that is. Where are we looking? US Treasury Secretary um, Bessent has cautioned White House officials on attempts to fire Fed's Powell. This is just some ECB governors already see high probability of a June cut. Oh, Ukraine's President Zelensky minerals deal memorandum with the US could be signed during online meeting on Thursday. That's today, isn't that today? I mean, that would make the market move. Zelensky, I have evidence China supplies weapons to Russia. Going to show evidence of Chinese supplies next week. Well, if that's the case, then the tariffs on, thank you, the tariffs on China wouldn't be such a downer for the market anymore, huh? Especially if Ukraine's going to sign their minerals deal, then, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Anyway, I think I'm going to be done for today. It's just past 12. I don't like trading after that, at least not until later in the afternoon session. We're getting all kinds of volatility again here. We have no clear direction for the market. We're getting these wild movements that even using micros here, I don't want to risk. I just don't want to risk it. I don't want to risk the account. We're still there. We're at 52,313. We only need to get to 53, right? 52,313. We only got to get to 53. We had a nice little break even trade today that would have been it, but it didn't work out, and I'm okay with it. We tried. It was during an appropriate time. So everything worked out there. But anyway, we'll talk about that in the recap video anyway. So thanks for watching. Long session today. We were waiting for that opportunity. It just did not present itself, and that's okay. We'll go into the weekend. We'll have a nice little, chill weekend. We'll relax. We'll come back on Monday ready to finish this combine. All right. So thanks for watching. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Like, comment, share, turn on notifications. I come on live every single day that the market is open. No live session tomorrow. Don't forget, markets are closed tomorrow for Good Friday. And don't forget to join the free Discord. Link is in the description down below. We'll see you guys next week.